I'm the second speaker of opposition team. I will explain my arguments, but before continuing with my arguments, I will give some rebuttals to the affirmative team arguments. First, about the deputy leader of affirmative team believe that the objective of their model proposal is actually in line with the principle of democracy, which is to provide an equal definition of welfare to all levels of society. But in this case, the affirmative team already failed to describe to us about the equality itself. Equal is not when you give the exactly same amount of treatment to all people, but equal is when you give the treatment to all people based on their needed. So, for example, a man and a baby. A man and a baby have a different portion of food, but if we keep forcing the same amount of food for them, so it will create a bad impact and it will harm the baby. This is just same as the smoker and the non-smoker. The smoker and the non-smoker have different perspective about this welfare, because the smokers have welfare when they're smoking, because of that we cannot just make this treatment as the same with banning smoking, because with banning smoking it will violate their right. And the next point is about the deputy leader of affirmative team believe that since the mechanism of model proposal require the process of the sacrificing, harming the basic human right of the practitioners, then the affirmative team believe of the process of talk that the practice of this personal choice is solely made based on blind irrational forces, and this should be strongly forbidden by the government as a rational authority. But the affirmative team forgot that this kind of the welfare is not only come from physical benefit, it's only come from psychological benefit. So this psychological benefit is way more important than this just psycho benefit. This psychological benefit is will have a more effect to the society. So we have to put this psychological benefit as the priority, and this is will because this is more important. And next, about there's no my argument. Let's continue my arguments. Before I have to save content of my arguments, I'm going to analyze. The first about there's no such thing of the logical fallacy of the popularity or a wrong decision that is made based on the blind irrational capacity under our model of proposal, because allowing the value of personal choice to be performed by the believers is actually the best indicator to see what on which value that is mostly needed by the individual or community at the moment. Okay, first layer. Whether this should be considered as a form of logical fallacy of popularity, we believe that this logical fallacy of popularity is only valid when the society believes that this activity is doing by the majority of the society. But under our explanation, this decision they decide to smoking based on their voluntary decision. So this is pure that their voluntary decision. And the next point is about the next layer is about why the construction of the new modification or of value is sacred exclusive right of the society. First, the value is the main or can I say a primary foundation of the society to create a culture, and which is they believe that this will give them welfare on their own fashion, because this value will give them what they need and what they need for their welfare, because this value will not only give good impact for the society, because this value will become the life what they're living on. So they have big unchanged this value. We have to consider that the society have the main right to choose they will change this the value as or not. So the government has no authority to change this value if the society doesn't want to change this value. So the society have the absolute right for this value. And the second point of contention of my arguments is about the motivation of advancing social change should be coming from their inner willingness of the individual or the society, because imposing alien value to them will only create an unsustainability development of the situation in the future that will even harm all of the stakeholders being involved in this issue. Okay, let's see how bad this could be. Uh, we can take example of NATO countries. NATO countries, when they successful to topple down Saddam Hussein and freed Iraq and Afghanistan. Iraq and Afghanistan in that time is not a democracy country, but the NATO country forced them to change their country to democracy country with attack them with military intervention. So in short term, okay, their country changed into democracy, but since the beginning, the Iraq and Afghanistan the society doesn't want to implement this democracy, so they will just do the bad or the wrong society, the wrong democracy, and there's still so many rejection from the society, which is they're bombing the facility and so many cruel action, any and else something like that. Which is this really bad for our future implication. We can take this as example to the smoking case, because if we force the society to stop smoking, okay, for the first time or the short time, they will stop smoking because the government still supervises them to not smoking. But uh, with the time pass, the supervisor of the uh, government is decreased, and this seemed like the government has already success, because and so they decrease the supervising and the society will keep smoking. And even worse, they on that short time they will do some demonstration or some do cruel activity like the Afghanistan and Iraq do, and in a long time they will keep smoking. And even worse, because since a long time they're not smoking, so when they have a chance to smoking, they will smoking, and they'll smoke the cigarette and will not stop smoking. So the conclusion is the mechanism of the rule have to base on the society itself, because if the society doesn't want that mechanism, it will be create a bad future implication for our country, and this is get and as the opposition team of the house, we proud to oppose.